This series of bonus podcast episodes were taken from my 9-hour live stream on the 15th of April 2020. I interviewed 16 speakers back to back whilst on lockdown from the coronavirus pandemic, and I thought I would edit them just for you. Hope you enjoy and stay safe, my friends. How you doing, Martin?
I'm very well, Ian. How are you?
I think this could be the last one of the day. Is this the last one of the day? Let's have a look. I think this could be the last one. So I'm excited. Yes, good. I'm excited. Yeah.
Good.
Have you been watching?
I haven't had a chance to, mate. I've been literally snowed under.
Yeah.
So I've had to set the alarm to make sure that I didn't miss that 10-minute window.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't miss that. So is it in terms of business as usual for you then? Are you still?
Business as unusual, I would say. We're pretty much there or thereabouts, running the same as usual. We've had to furlough a couple of people.
Okay.
But apart from that, it's pretty much as is. Apart from our distribution, we can't send guys into offices that are closed, so the bulk drop can't happen. But our direct mail is still going ahead as it always has done.
Right. So, we might as well tell people what you do then, because people are thinking bulk drop. What's going on?
Well, bulk drop would be how we actually drop the magazines into offices across the northeast. So we have two
magazine, Martin? We don't know.
Right. Okay. Well, I'd be surprised if nobody knew who it was. Come on.
Oh yeah, I love that. For our viewers further afield, and obviously this is going global, okay. So
naturally. It is the Northeast Times magazine, which it's the leading business publication for the Northeast. So yeah, we have been affected, and the distribution is one of our sort of key USPs. We like to be able to get the magazine to as many people as possible. So our usual 7,000 has been disrupted because of the lovely COVID. But on the flip side of that, we've seen a way of how to continually add value by reaching out through digital. So we had plans in place maybe to increase that anyway around September time. It's just forced us to move a bit quicker and really up the ante on the digital side. So I think a lot of our audience will have seen that there's a lot more activity, certainly on digital and social media from Northeast Times, as well as the group involved.
It's interesting. So that obviously the Northeast Times is a hard copy publication.
Yes. Was
it always online as well?
It's always been online. Yeah, always been online. It was from day one. It's been online. I think because the publication is so beautiful in its appearance and the way we get it to our audience. There's never really been a need to really heavily promote the fact that it is online. But with the pandemic hitting, it's a case of, well, actually, it's always been online. We just made people more aware of the fact that it is available to read online. And we do put the content on the actual individual pages on the website to make it more reader friendly as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's fully available online.
It's interesting. You kind of dove into the why about the magazine. Why it's like it's nice, it's good quality stock, it looks good, and I think how is that perceived now in 2020? Actually having a physical magazine, If you hear some people, they'll say like, well, what, you actually still read magazines now? You still buy books? We've got Kindle, or we've got online. Is this always a business challenge for you guys at Northeast Times?
I would think so. Especially now with people sort of digesting the content more online at the moment. But everything that we've done with the magazine has been clearly thought out for that reason, to engage a spectrum of people within business. So from your trainee solicitor right the way through to your top chief executive, so that it has to have that sort of aesthetic appeal to pull people in. The content is the thing that keeps people flicking through the pages. So yeah, everything's been clearly thought out to make sure that it is engaging. So publications themselves, especially magazines, you tend to find that niche publications, especially business magazines, tend to do pretty well regardless of the situation. Hence why Vogue still print, millions of copies every single issue. So we're quite fortunate that we do fit into a bit of a niche. So yeah, there's definitely a challenge, but I think as long as we keep trying to be forward thinking in our approach, we'll be okay.
So how does it pay for itself, Martin?
It's fully funded by the advertiser.
Right. Okay.
So we always put the message out there that it's, yes, we might run the publication, but it belongs to the advertisers and the readers.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's their magazine, and if they support it, it'll continue to be around.
Yeah.
That's the message that we always put out there. It's the readers and the advertisers magazine. So, we cannot be any more thankful for the support that we've had from all our corporate partners and advertisers, because they're the ones that keep the thing running.
Yeah. It's interesting because this is it quarterly or monthly? Quarterly.
It's monthly. Yeah.
Monthly.
Yeah.
Whose decision was it to put Grant Murray on the front cover? I mean, really? There's lots of people out there.
I think it might have been his.
I'm waiting for it to pop up in the comments shortly.
You probably will do, but no, it like all our independent content. It's run through Alison Cowie, our editor, who's absolutely brilliant, and her team. They're the guys who come up with all the editorial themes, and they decide 100% on the content. So myself and the commercial team, we have zero input into what content Alison's going to run. Right. And that upholds the integrity in the publication, and just makes it a better quality read. So, Alison's choice to put Grant on the cover. There was strong competition, mind, but he got there in the end.
No, I'm just winding Grant up, because actually it was a nice little lead in, because I think the front cover makes the magazine as well. I think it's like a lot of these magazines you mentioned, the Vogues and things out of the world. The front cover is really, really powerful when people pick up a magazine. So how is that a real tough decision? I know you've got a great photographer as well. So is it?
Yeah, it is again. It's what's relevant at the time for the region. So the front cover is essentially the shop window of the magazine. It is really a snapshot of the biggest story for the Northeast at that current moment in time.
Yeah.
The photography, again, that's driven by Chris Owens, who I'm sure everyone who knows Northeast Times will be familiar with Chris as well. He's arguably the finest portrait photographer in the Northeast. He'll probably tell you the world, but
He would.
So yeah, again, it's a choice between the editorial team deciding who they want on the cover, and then a creative decision between Chris and Pete Mallon on what the look's going to be like for the cover, and then Chris will have an idea of how he wants to shoot that. So he definitely had the God lens on for Grant, that's for sure.
He certainly did. He made him look really good, and I noticed Grant quickly changed his profile pictures to that very much. A picture straight away. So he must be pleased with the outcome for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Yeah. So, do you guys have an office, or do you work from home? Or
we're all working from home at the moment, that's for sure. Yeah, we have an office in Gosforth. We've been there for the best part of 5 years now. So, decent location, central to the gateway of the north, really, straight from the A1, A19. So it's dead handy. An abundance of coffee shops on the high street for anybody who wants to have a meeting there. It's literally take your pick. So yeah, we've been there for 5 years now. Love the place. We're based in South Northumberland Cricket Club.
Right.
So that it's a great place to have an office, really.
So who come up with the concept of producing the Northeast Times then? So
Northeast Times, it's a really old publication, believe it or not. So a bit of a history lesson on it, really. It was first launched in 1981, believe it or not.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
1981 by a guy called Chris Robinson, who still wrote for the magazine as well up until around 2002.
Right.
It was then bought out by another magazine publisher in 2002, and that's pretty much when I started working for the title, really. Up until 2015, I think it was when I left. and unfortunately it went under. So myself, Pete Mallon, Alison Cowie, Chris Owens, we all seen an opportunity to relaunch the title and make it the magazine that it should have always been. Really, I don't think it was really as well respected as to what it is now. So we almost try and leave what was done in the past behind us and just look forward now to what we can really control going forward in the future. But of course, none of us had any cash, so we went and got a couple of investors involved. One of them being John Duns, who I know a lot of people will know from his Watson Burton and Brew and Dolphin days. And myself and Pete basically pitched to John and said, look, this is what we'd like to do.
Yeah.
We'd like to make Northeast Times the leading business title in the Northeast. Would you be interested in investing? Luckily, he said yes. We also got Pete's father-in-law to invest as well. And we basically took it from there, from being a name that was in the gutter to now what is sort of held up as the leading business title for the region. So really exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's monthly. Is that not a challenge to try to get out good content every month, though?
I don't think so, because the Northeast, and I'm sure if Alison and our team were here, they'd tell you the same. That there's so many good stories, and you know, it's just not a problem for the region. Right. We're always being, invited to interview people, feature businesses, constantly. I mean, Alison's inbox is just non-stop.
Is it?
So non-stop. So there's definitely no, there's no lack of stories in the Northeast, and that's what the magazine is here to do, is to celebrate the reasons why people want to live and work in the Northeast, why it's such a great place to do business.
Yeah. So, what success stories would you stick out for you then when you think about the magazine in its current guise and since the investment?
Basically getting it launched. I think that was it was because it was a really scary thing, taking it's all right having an idea and thinking you can do it, to actually going and executing it. Yes. So, to see it grow from an idea that was pitched on my tiny little iPad, going around businesses saying, remember that magazine that you used to look at? Well, this is what it's going to be going forward. To where it is now, it's unbelievable, that it's almost created a community. Hence the reason why we say it's much more than a magazine. It's a community. It's a multi-channel platform. It's not just print. We have various, a huge reach on social media. So it's basically grown from nothing to a bit of a beast, really. And I think people who are involved with it, certainly even from an editorial perspective, the likes of Grant, because we've just mentioned him, I think are really thrilled to be featured in it, and really, it's a real privilege to be featured in it. So, I think just even getting the thing from an idea onto the first pages back in 2015 was the biggest achievement, I would say. Yeah.
And what about the fact you're showcasing some fantastic organizations and people? That obviously must be really exciting, and you must have a lot of pride to be able to do that. Was there a particular article or edition that really stands out that had an impact?
For me, the one that really stood out was I think it was probably the first built environment one that we done, where all of a sudden there was just an explosion in ad sales. We had George Clark on the front cover. Again, able to attract that type of name into the publication is only happening because of the integrity in the magazine. If we were to put a commercial link to the cover, it just wouldn't happen.
Right.
So being able to have those types of names, on there, and that one is the one that really sticks out, because you see your ad revenue skyrocket, and you just think that's absolutely incredible what we've managed to achieve, and it just goes to show that people really value this as a marketing tool.
Thinking about some of the lessons learned, then it's a really corny question, and I never really like to talk about lessons learned or challenges or when you faced adversity. But I think it'd be remiss not to do it, because obviously in a publication, you could definitely put a publication out that really works, right? And then there must have been one or a front cover or an edition where you just think, I can't believe that didn't work. Now, I don't want you to call anybody out that was on the front cover, but there must have been some kind of lessons learned about what you've done.
I think, and again, it's maybe not just publishing. I think it's probably any business. I think we all went into it with a sort of naive enthusiasm that this was, instantly going to be a hit, and we're going to, do really well and make loads of money. But it doesn't actually work like that. I think the biggest lesson that we learned was to really underestimate the sales side. Okay. Because you go into it think this is going to be amazing, and it takes a bit of a while, especially with a tarnished publication like Northeast Times was, to really get people to understand what value you're going to bring now. So it probably took about 3 or 4 months for the people who were sort of sitting on the fence to really drop in, and then from there we managed to bring on some really big name clients, who again added credibility to the publication. That's when we realized we're doing something right, sticking by the principles of being sort of transparent, having real integrity in the publication, and being creative with the look of the thing. They came to the forefront, and basically that's when people thought, it's definitely something that a business like mine should be involved with. So, the underestimating the sales in the first instance was definitely the biggest lesson learned.
Is that in terms of what people would pay to advertise, or the amount of advertising?
Well, no, I heard a really good phrase, and it came from the guys at Apple, which was, your price point's right when people complain and still pay for it.
Yeah.
Because the product's so good. We're definitely not cheap, that's for sure, but what I would always say is we're definitely competitive in terms of what we do and the value we bring. So now I don't think anybody really questions the price, because they understand the value first. They understand the reach of the publication, that it's going to be sitting in front of 4,000 business owners, managing directors, chief executives, whatever. They know that that's going to bring value. So no, I think that the point I was making about the sales side is just people were still thinking about what the old publication was like, and having that sort of a reputation of, well, will it or won't it do what it's supposed to be doing? Hence why we really pushed on those sort of three key values.
It's interesting when you talk about ROI though, because quite often there's not an instant ROI. People's not going to say, "Oh, we advertised in the Northeast Times and then this happened." It's a bit like giving someone a business card. Sometimes it can sit in your bottom drawer or a case study, and then you pull it out a year later or 6 months later when the time's right. There's a friend of mine, Ted Rubin. He talks about R on R, which is return on relationship, and I love that, and I use that a lot when I'm
definitely
coaching.
Yeah.
And it's about, yes, we'll invest, but let's not think about the return on investment that comes back. Let's think about the relationship that we're kind of nurturing along the way, and we're playing the long game.
Yeah.
How does that kind of sit in with the people that advertise with you?
It sits exactly with us. That's what the whole magazine is based on: relationships.
Yeah.
If we look back to, like I say, 2015 when we first launched, we've got the majority of those clients still advertising with us now, and that's because we've gone down the relationship route. It's not a transactional thing.
Yeah,
it is all based on relationships and making sure that clients are getting the value from it and seeing the value, the long-term strategic plan. We tend not to do one-offs, if you get what I mean, in terms of advertising. We wouldn't ring up and say, that page that was £1,000, it's now £50. Do you want to do it? Because the magazine, the value at the end of the month is exactly the same as what it was at the beginning. There's no change in the cost, because the publication is going to come out in exactly the same way.
Yeah.
So I think people really see the value in that, and it's a relationship driven business for us for sure. Yeah.
We've got I'm trying to ignore Boomerang Geordie here, because we've already spoke about him being on the front cover. But he changed his profile picture just because of that lovely, beautiful picture. So let's ignore him. So he's asking there, is there a big team behind the Northeast Times?
Not huge, but we're probably up to about 15 now. So if you think about the editorial team, the amount of content they churn out, there's only 3 journalists.
Right.
So they are working really hard, as well as Chloe on the digital side supporting them. The amount of content they churn out is absolutely frightening. It really is.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at the size of the magazine, and then the digital side. There's a hell of a lot of work goes into it, a lot of hours. Exactly, quality over quantity. Well done, Grant. So it's there's a lot goes into getting that magazine out every month, and it's I don't think people appreciate that. I think they just think it's the click of a finger, press a button, and it's out there. But for to do an interview and get it written up, you're probably looking at the best part of a day and a half to make sure it's right for the publication.
Yeah, yeah. What about, you mentioned before about Alison's email box sort of bulging at the seams? Is that people thinking that they've got a story that you guys should put it out there, and I'm going to send you it?
Yeah, well, I would think so. But everybody thinks their business is the biggest and the best and the most important. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in that business.
Yeah.
So I get that, but she's literally got something like 70 pages to play with in the magazine. So she has to really make sure that those pages are given to the best business stories. And again, that's completely her decision, really. And it's a choice between her and the journalists who are featured in the magazine.
Does it ever get to the end of the month, though, when you're starting to think, oh my God, we haven't got those pages filled yet, or waiting for this, and it gets close to the wire?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, because people's diaries fill up. The people that we tend to interview have sort of important jobs, so their diaries move and change all the time. So
yeah,
I think one of the big ones was when we had Rafa Benitez on the cover, and it was radio silence. He agreed to do it, and it was radio silence for about 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden, Alison got a phone call and just said, the front cover's happening today."
Right.
So that was just it. Everybody had to drop everything and get across there, do the cover, and the photographs that Chris managed to pull out the bag on the drop of a hat was incredible, But it was Rafa Benitez at the end. I know you're a Sunderland fan, Ian, but it's.
I tell you what it is. It's never going to beat that picture of Roy Keane. The black background where he just looks grimacing, asking people to renew their season tickets. If you ever want to take a photograph of anybody, Roy Keane's your man,
Yeah, he's entertaining, that's for sure.
He certainly is. So, obviously, we've spoken a little bit at the top of the conversation about the current situation with this pandemic. What impact is going to have on content creation and people getting out there, and Chris photographing people, and what's the impact?
I think he just bought a really big zoom lens. Keeping the social distancing rule, No, well, I think today he was doing the front cover and he's done it over Zoom. So it's a really creative way of doing the front cover.
Seriously?
Yeah. He's done it over Zoom. I'm really interested to see how that's going to turn out.
Wow.
But again, it's thinking outside the box and being creative with the space that we've got, So of course it's causing problems for everyone's business. Luckily, we can do all the interviews over email or telephone. That's not a problem. But the photography side is going to be a bit tricky. Wow. But again, we've got a huge bank of imagery now from the work that Chris has done. So we're quite lucky to have real high quality photography whenever we need it, really.
Yeah.
So it should be okay, I would think. Yeah, but the creative side of doing the Zoom front cover, I haven't seen yet. So it's going to be really interesting. Yeah.
I wonder if the backdrop's like mine with my little piano over here. Where is it? Can't even. Oh yes, there I am. Touching the keyboard. So you mentioned there about getting the publication out, which is going to be the struggle. So what's happened there then?
Sorry, I missed that, Ian.
You talked at the top of the conversation. You talked about the publication getting out there, being distributed.
Yeah.
Normally, did he say 7,000 copies?
So we guarantee 7,000 every month, and how we would distribute that would be it would be 4,000 tracked by Royal Mail to business owners, decision makers, influencers. Why do we track it? So we know it's going to the places where we say it's going. It's measurable for the advertiser. And on the flip side, it's the distribution team we use internally would bulk drop into offices across the northeast as well.
Yeah.
But like I say, unfortunately, we can't do that. So the cash that we would ordinarily spend on that distribution is being invested into digital. And like I say, we've moved them plans forward from September to now. We'd always planned to do this, just not as quickly. But I think being part of a small team, you can be agile, can't you, and adapt. So, disappointing we can't get the full print run out there. But as soon as the normal times return as to what that really means, we'll get that 7,000 straight back out there.
And has the print run literally gone to zero because of this?
No, the print run's 4,100 as it stands.
Oh, sorry, that's gone to Royal Mail.
Yeah. So that's Royal Mail.
Right.
But we've also said, look, if you're not able to get to the office, which most business owners will still be going to the office, we've said send us your home address and we'll get the magazine sent to your home instead. Which again, we've had a huge uptake on that as well, which has been great.
Yeah.
So people are still really wanting to get that physical copy of the magazine in the hand as well, which is great.
Yeah, no, it is, and like we said a couple of times, I think it is that real tangible, good stock, good feel to it. It just feels nice. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it smells nice as well. There's nothing better than a good sniff of high quality ink when it gets back from the printers.
Have you got any Uber fans that collect all the different copies?
We've got quite a few. I suppose the biggest one, who I would probably say is Emily Bentley from down in Teesside. So she's the BD manager of a company called Communicate PLC, and I think she's got every single one from when we launched. She's an avid collector, hence a name that she has within the office of Emily Bentley Superfan. So Emily Bentley Superfan. She's a great advocate.
She's trying to get on the front cover, isn't she?
She's probably trying to get on the front cover, yeah, she probably is. But again, she's a really well respected business person down in Teesside. So it's great to have that kind of support from those guys as well.
100%, yeah. And I think there's you've got a great community here in the Northeast, and I think if we've got anything, especially in this time, we've got the support of each other, which is absolutely fantastic. We push each other. Even when I said I was going to do this on April 1st, you guys said you'd help push it out for me again on your social channels, and it's absolutely fantastic. We're all helping each other.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And I think that's what we're here to do as a publication. We're here to help. At the end of the day, we're here to get that message out there of what's happening at this moment in time, especially when it's crisis point, and people are really struggling. And I'd like to think that when they get the daily news from Northeast Times dropping, it's a bit of a highlight throughout the day,
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's, when the magazine arrives with that boatload of content, there's something that they can really get the teeth into and enjoy for the full month. They've got nothing else to do, have they? They may as well read Northeast Times.
Reading the Northeast Times with Grant on the front cover and the bath is probably the worst thing I'd ever imagined. But he's talking here about a monthly network event also being available.
Yeah.
It's set up for that, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's like he was set up for that.
Yeah, we ordinarily do a breakfast every single month. We originally done it to launch each publication, but it sort of evolved from that really to a case of just being a really good networking event. Very informal. There's no pressure on anyone. There's no one ringing a bell to say, right, you've got to move on to the next person. Yeah. It is literally, again, formed a community around the publication for like-minded people just to get together, have a coffee, have a bacon sandwich, have a chat, and hopefully do business around that, And the magazine's just a talking point. So yeah, unfortunately, we can't do those at the moment. And I would imagine the numbers are probably a little bit too high to do a conference chat. But once hopefully things go back to normality, we'll be able to get those rolling as quickly as possible because they are good. And
Suki asks here, are they all made in the Northeast? The printing of it?
Unfortunately, not, because we use a specialist magazine and periodical printer, and to keep the cost low for the advertiser, we can't print it in the Northeast for that reason. There's nobody who can do the job to the standard that we need it to be done at. So the company that we use is actually in Wales, who are unbelievable at what they do. We've never had an issue with them yet. We did use a printer in the early days who got a few things wrong, and again, quality being a big priority for us. They fudged a few things, where these guys just haven't budged. They've been absolutely brilliant, So quality is a big thing, and unfortunately, if we wanted to get it printed in the Northeast, it would cost us double, and that would cost us double, and that would be passed on to the advertiser, and that's not what it's about. It's about keeping those costs as low as possible for the advertiser.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, I think that's all our questions.
That's went really quick, by the way.
Hasn't it? It's just
that's phone by.
It's a good chat on. It's really insightful as well, because these, like, the reason I want to get you on, like, this drops into your inbox or your letterbox or whatever, and you don't really kind of understand or appreciate the hard work that goes into it, and especially for our region as well. It's something that's special.
Yeah, it is. It's although I'm biased because I'm heavily involved with the publication, but we've got to, the team's really special. I don't think there's a better team in the Northeast, and without those, that magazine doesn't get out the door. So the team itself are really, really strong, and like I say, right the way across everything they do, whether that's a film we put out, whether that's digital content or the magazine, it's top draw right the way across the board. It really is.
Good stuff. Right, well, there you go. There's your time up, my friend. I'm going to boot you out.
Well, thank you very much, Ian. It's been a pleasure.
I'm going to boot you out with the help of Santa.
He's got the same type of beard, though, so it's more like yours now, mate.
Thanks, mate.
That has come on a treat since the last time I seen you.
It has, yeah, but it's coming off shortly, though. Summer's coming. Trust me. Right, Martin. Thanks so much for your time, brother.
Cheers, Ian. Thanks very much, man. Cheers, mate. Well,
there you go. Another day done. I'm just going to make sure that we haven't missed anybody else because, no, I haven't. That's it. I think I finished early today, haven't I? How many is that? 6.5 hours. That's not too bad. I managed to get a few sandwiches across the way. So just let me say thanks for watching again. Thanks for sticking with me throughout the day. Commenting, engaging has been brilliant. Loads of you have stayed and dipped in and out right across the day. It's been amazing. Really good mix. Yes, that is my piano, Grant. Really good Thanks, Deb. You were great, by the way. Really good mix of speakers. As you can see there, Deb just commented. Really straight shooter. You could have heard from Deb for a good couple of hours, couldn't you? Even from the top, Laura was brilliant, very raw and authentic. And Pascal, again, I could have listened to you all day, brother. And Suki, I would love to play the piano. Well, actually, Anne's learned to play the piano, apparently. So this is the second one. The first one got some really good metrics, like really, really good. I was dead pleased with it all. And I really felt like I should bring it again for you. What is it now, the 15th of April? If we're on lockdown, should I do this again? Maybe. I don't know. It's up to you. You let me know what you think. You can watch these again. I'm going to chop them down as podcast episodes later on. And you can listen to them in your leisure. So there you go. Any questions from you guys? Another one? Suki, another one? It's up to you, Suki. If you want one, we'll think about it. Thank you so much, Grant. Nice haircut. That's from my son, Luke Grant. Yes, it's up to you whether you want another one. I don't know. We've had some really diverse speakers, haven't we, over these last 2 sessions? So could we find another Dirty Dozen, I wonder? We shall see. Yes, again. Okay, Grant. We'll see about that. Right. Okay. So, well, until next time, keep your head down. Stay safe. Thanks for all your support. And I'll see you on the flip side.